Hello everyone, my name is John Cottrell from MBODY Yoga in Salt Lake City. This is Soft Flow. This is a 60-minute gentle yoga practice. Thanks for joining me. So in a soft flow practice, what we do is move slowly. We take our time, and the premise here is to really take care of ourselves as we move through a yoga practice. One of my students a couple years ago, I think, really described this class pretty well. I'm primarily a power yoga instructor. I teach a lot of power yoga. And so they said, John, your class is more like a deconstructed power class. So our soft flow practice is a deconstructed power class, because what we'll do is actually some power yoga poses, but again, we're taking our time and we're modifying them, a lot of the postures. We also like to use a lot of props in this class. So let me just show you what we're going to be using for our practice. And these are kind of typical things I like to use for soft flow. So you might want to have a blanket, and that's for sitting on, also kneeling on, just to protect your knee joints and your wrists. So a blanket is always nice. And if you have them, a couple of yoga blocks or something that resembles yoga blocks. That could be a couple of hardback books that are stackable, bound, and also maybe a big pillow or a cushion. This is a yoga bolster. It's a very firm cushion. You can even use something from your sofa or even a pillow. We won't necessarily be using this during the full practice, but if you'd like to have something soft to lie on or draped, or you like to drape over something in your Shavasana practice, actually I probably will show you that at the end. So that's for our Shavasana. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin. We're going to start in a seated position. So feel free to sit on your folded blanket, a pillow, or even up in a chair if you'd like for this first part of the practice. We like to come to stillness and just get tuned in with our breath. It's a nice way to get settled in and prepare for our moving practice. And while we're settling in, I'll also describe what we'll be doing in our class today. So as you find yourself in your comfortable seated position, you might want to close your eyes if that feels good to you, or just soften your eyes. You might just gaze forward or downward at the ground. Start with some slow, deep breaths, deep cleansing breaths. You might breathe in through your nose. You can exhale through your nose or exhale through your mouth. Do that a few times just to get reacquainted with your breathing. And then you can just continue with slow, steady breaths. But breathe in a way where you can feel your breath. Notice how your body is responding to your breath, each inhale and each exhale. Notice the sound of your breath. These are just things you can focus on. And the idea here is to bring yourself to the moment, this moment, to stay present. Sometimes it's very easy for our minds to wander and start thinking about other things, and that's very normal. But to help us come back to the present moment, just take a deep breath or two. Slow breaths in and out. For our practice today, we're going to focus on heart-opening backbends. They're basically the same thing. We'll do a couple of backbends in our practice today, but when we do backbends in yoga, we consider them heart openers. So you can even think about what that might mean for you and how you can even use the expression of your heart opening. Maybe you need or want to receive something. Maybe you want to open your heart to give. So again, whatever that might mean for you, our heart-opening backbends. And just as I mentioned earlier, we'll really modify and take our time as we move into those particular postures as well as the rest of the class. You want to be gentle with your body. All right, let's keep tuning into the breath. As you inhale, just feel the breath rising upward to fill up your lungs. A nice expansiveness in the upper chest region. Then as you exhale, as you're able, draw your belly button in towards your spine. Just a light engagement there in the abdominal section. Again, as you inhale, you want to feel like you're sitting up a little taller in your seat. Breath is rising to fill up your lungs. And exhale, draw navel to spine. Do that a couple more times. And let's go ahead and add a simple movement to our breathing exercise. When you're ready, go ahead and inhale and extend your arms out and up into the air. A nice stretch feeling. Then exhale, extend your arms out. Really feel as if you're going to touch the walls on either side of your room. And let your arms come back down by your side. Completing that round of breath. Let's do that again. Inhale, reaching out. Good effort. Good lengthening through your arms. Energy through your fingertips. Reach high. Exhaling. Bringing the arms out. Reaching. And then back down. And now just continue breathing at your own pace and moving at your own pace. Still feel your breath as you inhale and the arms go up. Breath is rising to fill up your lungs. And as you exhale and the arms come back down, you're still connecting to your center. So feeling your navel draw in to feel that light contraction in your abdominal muscles. Very good. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Go at your own pace. Good. Just hold for a moment in stillness. Slow, deep breaths in and out. We're going to move into our first back bend. It's a very mild back bend that we do in the seated position. First, just bring your hands behind you. Maybe just lean back. Resting on your fingertips or even on your palms, either one's fine, just as long as your arms are behind you. And then maybe roll or feel the shoulders pull back a little bit, just to feel a bit more opening in the upper chest region. We're going to tip the chin up just a little bit. And now we're ready for our breath. Inhale, press into the ground with your hands or fingertips. Feel the breath rise, fill up the lungs. There should be a little bit more space, because now the arms are behind you, shoulders are rolled back. Then exhale, draw belly in to engage your center. We'll do this a few more times. Inhale, fill up the lungs. You even want to feel like there's maybe a string attached to the sternum here, and it's lifting straight up as you breathe in. As you exhale, continue to draw belly in, and as you're able, squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. Next, inhale, keep pressing into the ground. Even feel energy in your hands, arms, shoulders. Breath rising, fill yourself up. Exhaling, engage your center and your upper back. Now you can probably feel much more sensation filling up your body. This is what we want, just to bring more attention, more awareness to ourselves. Take 2 more breaths here. Okay, our seated back bend. And then go ahead and lower your chin to look directly forward. Walk your hands toward yourself. You can just let the hands rest in your lap. Hold for a moment and feel how your body now just kind of softens, releases after being very energetically reaching back and opening up the heart space. We want to counter the back bend with a forward fold. So we'll do that first by preparing our legs. So if your legs are crossed, go ahead and uncross your legs, reposition the legs so that your feet are touching, the soles of the feet are touching, just like this. This is where your blocks or books or small pillows could come in handy if you happen to have them. You can just tuck them underneath your legs right here so your legs have something to rest on, so they don't feel like they're just kind of hanging out there on their own. Then just hold on to your ankles or shins or even your feet or toes. You just want to be able to sit up nice and tall initially. So we'll inhale, grow even taller through the spine and torso. Exhale, draw belly in, and then very slowly start to hinge forward a tiny bit, leading with your heart. You can see I didn't move very far at all. We're going to do that again. We'll inhale, fill or lengthen the spine, fill up your lungs at this new angle in the body. Exhale, draw belly in, hinge forward a little bit more. Now you can pause anywhere you want. Maybe this is the end of the pose for you and this feels just right. Maybe you'll feel this in the inner thighs. That's one of the areas of the body that might create or might experience sensation in this particular pose. So the spine can stay straight if you'd like, or if you want, lower your chin and allow your back to round a little bit. You might even go down a little bit more. We don't want to force the body, nor do we want to push or go too quickly. That's all a part of our gentle yoga practice. We just want to be in a pose so that we feel relatively comfortable and probably feel like we can hold this for a long period of time without the body getting too tired, but more importantly, not getting too stressed. If you happen to be rounded in the back, do your best here, if you can, breathe into your back body. Just as we were leaning back, we're breathing into the lungs, the front part of the lungs, into the chest. Here, try to breathe into the back portion of your lungs, as if you're breathing into your back body. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Alrighty. If your back did round, we'll come out of that sensation by first lifting your head just a little bit so you're looking out in front of you. That will start that re-extension of your spine. You're going to hinge your way back up to a tall seat. You can even press your hands into the floor to help assist your way back up. Then feel tall, maybe taking a breath in and out. Hold here in stillness for a moment, feeling that re-extension of the spine. Very good. All right. We're going to go to our hands and knees. Just going to move my blocks out of the way and just carefully manipulate your body so you can come to hands and knees. This is where you might want to use your blanket if you'd like. I like to unfold mine into a long rectangle so that I can kneel on it and have my hands on it like this. So we're in a little tabletop posture. So our cat and cow flow. It's 2 poses that flow together. We'll inhale, look up or forward, arching the back slightly. So it creates a bit of a back bend. So another back bend here. Exhale, let's round the spine. Chin comes in towards chest. Belly button pulls up. Reverse it. Inhale, arch your back. Your pelvis will tip back. Your belly will drop. Heart opens, look forward. That's our back bend. Exhale, rounding it all out. Chin towards chest. And just keep moving at your own pace. Your inhale is cow pose, and this is the back bend. Exhale, round it all out. Remember, back bends are heart openers. And so as we create that back bend, even feel like your heart is opening and moving forward as you look forward. Exhale, tuck it all in. You're very welcome to add any intuitive movements. If it feels great for you at this moment, maybe to circle your hips, sit back or out to the side, just for little extra sensations and stretches in the body, please feel free. And if your wrists get a little tired, since there is, we are putting a bit of pressure on the wrists, you can always rest, sit back so you get off of your hands. You can even come down to your elbows, something like this. And even continue this cat-cow flow. There's a bit of a change in the sensation or where it shows up in the body if you're doing it from here. All right, go ahead and take 3 more breaths. Excuse me. When you're done, just come to a neutral tabletop position. We'll hold here for a breath or two. And then we'll crawl off the pad or blanket, whatever you might be using for your hands and knees. Set it to the side. Come back to your hands and knees here on your mat. We'll get ready for our next pose. You're going to step your hands forward so your hands are out from underneath your shoulders, and I recommend spreading out your fingers kind of wide here so you feel a stretch between each finger, and then press or lean into your hands so it stretches your palms. Then keep pressing so you feel some good energy and maybe strength in your arms. Let's hold that straight arm posture. Tuck your toes. We're going to do another cat and cow flow. So an inhale, cow pose. That's our back bend, heart opening. Exhale, round it all out into cat. Hold cat for a second here. And we're going to lift the knees off the ground, sending your hips up into the air, creating this mountain peak. You might need to adjust your feet a little bit, maybe even your hands. And we'll hold here just for a couple breaths. Also keep a slight bend in your knees. Continue to feel like your hips are lifting up into the air. At the same time, hands are pressing strongly into the ground. Downward facing dog is this pose. Now, we're going to step the feet forward until maybe they're at the center of your mat, or at least flat on the ground underneath you. This puts you into a forward fold. We're going to inhale and slide the hands up the legs until we've extended the spine flat like a table, horizontal to the floor. We're going to hold here. Just keep breathing right here. And inhale to keep that extension through the spine, an energy moving through the top of your head and even through your tailbone to the back of the room. And keep that slight bend in the knees. This will engage your legs here too. This is good for your core. We're going to stand up. So shift your weight back into your heels first. Bend your knees. Let your hips come down a little like you're going to sit down into a low chair. Look forward. This will allow you to take your arms out to the side. Press feet strongly into the ground, straightening your legs so you can stand even taller. Reach up into the air. There you go. Exhale, bring your arms down by your side. Now we are in standing mountain pose. Take a few moments and just roll your shoulders. When we do some of our back bends, we need to be able to draw the shoulders back. So let's just give them a little rotation. You can do them both at the same time or one at a time. I like to go backwards a few times and then forward a few times, just to kind of loosen up in the shoulder area. Also kind of warms up kind of the trapezius area, your upper back, rhomboids, down the back a little, and even through the neck. Alrighty. Let's do another forward fold and come right back up, taking our time, starting in mountain pose. Here we go. Inhale, reach into the air, create a big stretch towards the ceiling. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees. Feel like you're sitting back into a low chair. Take your time, folding, maybe touching the ground, but you don't have to. Maybe your hands land at your shins or ankles. Inhale, slide your hands up the legs until you feel like you're parallel to the floor, creating that tabletop. Exhale, we're going to fold again. Just slide down a little bit down the legs until you feel like you've folded a little bit more. Even take a moment just to release your head. We like to hold tension in our necks. So just give it a little shake. Just nod yes, shake your head no. Just feel that nice release. All right, ready to stand. Let's set it up. Send your weight back into your heels. Bend your knees, lower your hips like you're sitting down into a low chair. Look forward. Spread your wings again out to the side. Pressing feet into the floor. Stand up tall. Reach up. Touch the sky. Exhale, arms down by your side. Hold here. Very nice. Even shake that out. That just takes a lot of energy. And then after you finish that sequence, you just kind of shake things out. Okay, so we're going to move into our Warrior One. Lately, we've been moving into Warrior One in a very specific way. All right, once again, standing in mountain pose. First, we're going to put a slight bend in the knees and keep that bend in the knees. Now start shifting your weight into your right foot. Feel that energy, shift, press into the ground. Lean forward just a little bit so you can start stepping the left foot back. Just tap, tap, tap it back just enough until maybe you're kind of balancing on your big toe or the balls of the foot. Either one's fine, just as long as you feel like you've got some balance. And you can see with me, there isn't too much space between the feet, and that's perfect for this. Now pivot and just press that left heel to the floor. Now we're kind of in this nice planted sensation. We're in a lunge, but it's not very wide. Now go ahead and place your hands on your hips. Push your pelvis down, and as you're doing that, feel very tall and proud in your torso. And then just kind of turn so you're facing this front foot. Alrighty, we're going to inhale, take both arms up into the sky. Hold there as you exhale. So this is our variation of a warrior one. There's a slight bend in the right knee. That left leg, it's relatively straight, but it is kind of back behind us. The leg is turned out, so your toes are kind of pointing out at an angle, and that's perfect for this. And hopefully you feel pretty sturdy, grounded, planted in one place for this lunge. Now we're going to get back to our regular posture of mountain pose. So just lean forward a little bit, shifting the weight into right foot until you can just step forward, both feet together. Arms are still up in the air, but stand up tall, straight legs, reach high, exhale, bring your arms back down by your side. And again, we've completed the sequence. Feel free to kind of shake that out. And when you're ready, we'll just do the other side. We like to start with the bend of the knees so we don't accidentally lock out the knee joints. Then shift your weight over into left foot. Feel that connection, very well connected. Lean forward just a tiny bit so you can start stepping or tapping the right foot back until you're balancing on big toe or the balls of the foot. When you're ready, just pivot, right heel to the ground. The foot will turn out, the leg will naturally turn out, and that's exactly what we want for this. Place hands on hips, push pelvis down as we get nice and tall and proud in the upper body. That also gives us space so we can kind of turn to face mostly forward, out over this left knee and foot. Now we'll inhale and extend both arms up into the air. Hold on the exhale. We'll hold, keep breathing in and out as we reach high and we're lunging. So again, that slight bend of left knee and toes are pointing forward. Right leg is relatively straight with the leg turned out at an angle, and that shows up as with the toes pointing outward. Good balance here, very solid on 2 feet. Now start to hinge forward slightly, start shifting weight into left foot. Step the right foot up to the top of the mat. Stand up tall, straighten the legs, reach high, and then bring your arms down by your side, finishing. Shake it out. All right, so that's our first variation of Warrior One. We'll do another version coming up. So here we go. Just move at your own pace, take your time. Inhale, extend your arms up into the sky. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, feel like you're sitting back into your low chair. Coming down, maybe touching your toes or maybe just ankles or shins. Inhale, slide the hands up the legs, extending your spine. Exhale, fold carefully. Bend your knees a whole lot more here. Let the back round because you'll want to bring your hands down to the mat so you can start stepping both of your feet back. Take your time. Both feet back to the back end of your mat until you're in a straight line. Right here, plank pose. If you need to, you can also place the knees on the ground. We'll take a breath in. Exhale, bend your knees a little to send your hips up into the air. This is our return to downward facing dog. Feel free to adjust your feet, maybe your hands if you need to. Settle into the posture. Remember to keep that slight bend in the knees so the hips can continue to rise. Let's continue with our second variation of Warrior One. We'll inhale to extend the right leg up behind you. Reach for the wall behind you. Exhale, bend this right knee. Bring that right knee in underneath you towards your chest or chin, shifting your body weight forward so your shoulders are stacked over your wrists. And then set the right foot down, kind of the balls of the foot on the ground. Then gently set your left knee on the ground. This is going to allow you to take your right hand, literally pick up your right foot and place it up a little higher on your mat. This is what's going to create the distance between the feet. We're going to re-lift the left knee. Here's that pivot of left heel to the ground.
Now you're going to kind of walk your hands back a little bit so you can put more weight in that back foot. Okay? Right knee is still bent, but rise up to fingertips to help extend your spine. Your torso is kind of lying right out over the right thigh. Place your right hand, or both hands actually, on your right thigh. Push to help lift upper body. And then take your arms out and up, reaching into the air. That's an inhale. And we exhale and just bend the right knee a little bit more. And now we're in our posture. It's the same pose as we did before. There just happens to be more distance between the feet. This does take a little bit more balance. This does affect a little bit more in the left hip flexor. We're going to inhale. We're going to exhale, turn your torso towards the left side of the room as your arms come down to parallel, just like this. If you need to, if your feet don't feel quite steady, because mine don't at the moment, you can just make some adjustments. I just stepped the left foot back a little bit so it feels a little bit more in line with my front foot, and this feels a little bit more solid. I feel like everything is kind of stacked in the right place. So always feel free to make those kinds of adjustments if you need to. Arms are extended parallel to the floor. We're going to reach out, angling the upper half of the body, so feel like you're reaching for something with your right hand. And then rotate your arm so your right arm comes down, maybe on the inside of right leg, while left hand is reaching straight up into the air. Deep breathing here. You might even feel a stretch sensation down through the left side of your body. You can see I'm up pretty high in this pose. This is perfect. If this feels good for you, stay here, but you can always go lower. This right hand might even get closer to touching the ground if you'd like. Okay, let's keep moving. Breathe in. We're going to exhale carefully. You're going to bring this left arm down. Just carefully turn, looking at the ground. Fold and bend. Place your hands on the ground. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Make sure your hands are pushing firmly into the mat. Build that upper body strength. Slide or step the right foot back into plank pose. Okay, we're going to bring the knees to the ground for a moment. Hold here. Take another series of cat and cow. Maybe 3 breaths. Inhale, open the heart. Exhale, round. Go at your own pace. Just a little back bend sequence here. Just keeping everything mobile, breath flowing through our bodies. And then just come to stillness. We'll tuck the toes, and with a good exhale, lifting the knees off the ground, hips return into the air. Keep that slight bend of knees, even feel like your hips are still rising upward. Other side now. Inhale, extend left leg up, reaching the foot towards the back of the room is fine. Strong hands and arms. Exhale, bend your left knee. Bring it in underneath you towards your chest or chin. Shift your body forward. Your shoulders will now stack over your wrists. Set your left foot down onto the ground. Then set your right knee on the ground. Pick up your left hand, reach back, go get the left foot to place it up higher on the mat. Left hand comes back down. Relift the right knee. Pivot right heel to the floor. Now there's still a lot of weight and energy forward, so kind of step the hands back a little bit so it's easier to put more weight and pressure in that back foot. Once you've got that, maybe rise to fingertips here so you can extend your spine. Again, your torso is probably resting a little bit on this front leg. Then walk both hands up to your thigh. Push to help guide your way up to about 45 degrees. Right there, nice extension through the torso. Spread your wings out and then up into the air as we now are perpendicular to the floor, straight up and down. Inhale to reach high, exhale to lunge, or just bend that left knee. Notice where this shows up in your body. I really feel this in the right leg, the leg behind us, because we're in that lunge, really affecting the right hip flexor. Let's take a breath in. We're going to exhale, turn your torso towards the right side of the room as your arms come down to parallel. Again, check in with your foundation. That's your feet. If you need to make some adjustments, do so here so you feel more solid and secure. And when you feel good, hold. Arms extending, warrior 2 position. Ready for side angle. We start by reaching forward to angle the upper half of the body. Rotate your arm so your left arm comes down. Right arm reaches up into the sky. Extending. Feel as if you will touch the ceiling, and also feel like you're going to touch the floor with your left hand. Deep breaths. It's a great opening for your heart space. So even though we're not in a back bend, this can also be a heart opening posture. Let's breathe in. We're going to exhale, bring the right arm down, carefully turn so you can see the floor. Bend. Place the palms on the ground, rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Good pressure into the ground with the hands. So you can slide this left foot back, return to plank pose. Hold. Then bring knees to the floor. Okay, we're going to add another posture in a moment, but first let's do 3 more breaths, cat and cow. Okay, this next pose is another back bend, but we're going to set it up in a certain way. So finish 3 breaths of cat and cow, just keeping your back and pelvis pretty mobile here. And then maybe sitting back briefly into what's called hero pose, really just getting off of your hands. Because I'm going to invite you to bring in a blanket if you want it. Just for some padding, for actually your hands and knees again. Let me just turn my blanket this way. Okay, and then come back out onto hands and knees on your blanket. Okay, I'm just going to move these props a little bit out of the way, right there. Here's what we're going to do. Now, I'm tapping my right foot, tapping the right foot, keeping the knee on the ground. I'm going to swing that right foot over towards the right side of the mat. It might even go off the mat a little bit. I'm kind of leaning to my right side, so that you can easily pick up this left leg and extend it back and keep the toes on the ground. Something like this. So the leg is straight. Even feel like your hamstring and calf muscle are lifting up towards the ceiling. Hold there for a second. At any point, you can just stay. You don't have to continue. Maybe this is enough of the posture that we want to do, but we are moving into a back bend. Okay, I'm going to lean over to my right hand like this so I can actually open up my body, taking left arm up into the air. At any point, you can rest or even come out of the pose or just hold in place because I'm going to keep adding on here. Alrighty, I'm flexing the left foot, the foot I'm tapping, and I'm going to lift the foot off the ground. Still going, we're going to create a back bend. So I'm bending the right knee. I'm just bringing my heel towards my back side, and the left hand is coming down behind as if I'm going to reach and hold the left foot. I'm not going to, and you don't have to. If you can, go for it, but you don't have to, because what you are creating a bit of a back bend here. All you really need to do is just feel like your hips or even your belly or chest feel like they're moving forward. So we're in this balancing sideways posture. Okay, let's re-extend the left arm straight up into the air, left leg straight out back behind you, set the foot back down onto the ground. We're just taking this in reverse. Come down, hands and knees. That was a lot of pressure on the right hand. So let's once again just sit back briefly in hero like this and just circle the wrists. Okay, paying close attention to the right hand since all the pressure was there. But go ahead and do both hands. Just some circles. You can also put some light pressure. I'm just placing the tops of the hands together, creating a little swing effect right there. Or you can even press them gently, the tops of the hands into the ground. I'm not pushing hard. I'm just a little press, slight press right there. Just get a counter stretch from being like that. Okay? And so that's our kind of our kneeling back bend. All right, let's do the other side. So we're going back out to hands and knees whenever you're ready. Let's tap left foot, swing it out to the side. I call this a kickstand because that's really just giving us some balance. You can always kind of change the angle of that leg. Lean over to left side so you can extend the right leg back, lifting the knee but keep the toes on the ground until you feel like you're balanced here. When you're ready, lean into left side so you can pick up the right hand, opening your torso towards the right side of the room while the right arm extends straight up into the air. Hold there if you'd like for the duration. If you want to continue, make sure to flex the right foot. It just gives that leg some good energy. If you can, pick up the foot off the ground, bend your knee, bring your heel towards your backside, and then just bring your right arm down behind you as if you're going to reach and touch your heel or ankle. Again, you don't have to actually grab it or touch it at all. Just reach back. But do feel like your belt buckle, your belly, and your heart are just kind of moving forward towards the right side of the room. Keep breathing here. This does take some balance. Don't worry if you wobble a little bit. All perfect, all normal. Okay, let's re-extend the right hand up into the air. Re-extend the right leg. Bring the foot back down to the ground. We're going in reverse. Bringing right hand down, right knee down. Cat and cow. Okay? Very nice. So that's one of our back bend, heart opening postures. Let's get ready for our next one. We're going to move into a variation of camel pose. Camel. But let's get off the hands. Okay? Come back onto the haunches here. Circle the wrists, massage the wrists, any way that might feel good for you. Pressure, light pressure. Okay, put tops of the hands together or onto the ground. Even wiggling your fingers, that's a nice way to kind of release some of that tension that can build up in that forced flexed posture, okay? Just go in the counter position, even just a little wiggle of the fingers. Okay, so we're going to do camel pose, a variation of camel. So we're actually going to rise up onto our knees here. You can keep the feet flat like that or even tuck toes. Either one's fine for this. Now with the center of the body, your hips and pelvis, you want to kind of push forward so you feel activated right in the hip flexors, or if you're wearing a belt buckle, the belt buckle feels like it's kind of pushing into an imaginary wall that was right in front of you. You're going to bring your hands behind you. I'm going to turn this way so you can see if you need to see. Now your hands are behind you. It could be your palms like this or even your thumbs. I like to use my fists. My fists are right at, if you were wearing a belt, it's right below the belt, okay? Right at the top of the cheeks. Two actions with the hands. You're going to push down and forward, gently pushing downward and forward. And here's the actions that will activate that. We're going to inhale, push downward, but feel like your torso is getting taller. As we exhale, we're pushing forward with the hands and gently leaning back. See, I didn't go back very far. Inhale, push down, get tall in the torso. Exhale, push forward, lean back. What we're doing, before we even lean back, we're making space in that low back region. Again, if you're able, inhale, push down, get tall. Exhale, push forward, lean back. You can even tip your chin up and even look up at the ceiling. Now, if this feels like a strain on your neck, listen to my voice. I'm going to keep sending my head back, which creates a strain in my throat, and it's hard for me to talk and breathe. If that's the case for you, then you may want to bring the chin back down, creating that hollowness in the throat so you can breathe. You want to feel like that imaginary string is attached to the sternum and lifting you up like we did earlier in that seated back bend. Let's take a couple more breaths. Be sure your hands are still active. You're pushing down and slightly forward, even though you might be holding the pose. Okay, let's get out of the posture. Lower your head so you're looking forward, straight ahead. Even sit back. Just bring your hips down towards heels. Release hands, bring them out in front of you so you're on hands and knees. If your toes are tucked like mine are, flatten the feet. And then take the knees a little wider. We're just going to sit back into child's pose. So just sit towards the heels. Extend the arms out in front, lowering your body down. Several things you can do to kind of do this pose for a little bit more stability. If you want. I'm just going to you can bring in a pillow or a big cushion right between you like this. So you can just kind of rest like this right on the pillow. You can do that. Or you can bring in a block or a book or a pillow and just rest your forehead. This is what I'm going to do right here. Meanwhile, the arms are just extending out in front. You don't have to reach too actively. They're just out in front, creating some length in the torso. And there's a slight roundedness in the back. It's straightening and rounding, just as a counter position to being in our camel pose, which is our heart-opening back bend. And because we're in a forward fold, breathe into your back body. Fill up your lungs from the backside. Three more breaths. Take your time. Whenever you are complete, come back up onto hands and knees. You may want to bring the knees back underneath you. If you're using that padding, that blanket, go ahead and crawl off the blanket. Again, just set it to the side. All right, I have another back bend for us. It's going to be a standing one now. I'm just adjusting my mat. So we're on hands and knees. Let's get ready for down dog. Again, step the hands forward, spread out your fingers. Press into the ground, strong arms. Tuck your toes. Inhale, cow pose. That's our back bend. Exhale, round it out, cat pose. Then lift knees and hips up into the air. Make your adjustments. Hold down dog for a second. Then, inhale, extend right leg up. Exhale, bend right knee, bring it in underneath you towards chest, shifting your body weight forward. Maybe your foot can land up up closer up to the hand. Otherwise, if it can't, do what we did earlier. Left heel turns to the floor when you're ready, shifting the weight back so you have more pressure in that back foot. Rise up to fingertips, extending through spine. Hands to thigh. Press. Lift. Actually, you're just going to lift upper body. Arms will stay down by side right here because we're going to change that back foot. You want to feel pretty planted here for the moment, just so you're sturdy, but we're going to change this. Just kind of lean forward so you have a little bit more weight and pressure in this front foot. Okay, because we're going to pivot so we can get up onto the toes behind us. This takes a little bit more balance. Now take the arms out and up. Reach up into the sky. Exhale, bend elbows like this. So they're at 90 degrees. Can you see that? 90 degrees. Even make a fist here. Fist with the hands. Imagine you're holding onto like a bar. And imagine you're going to do a pull-up on a bar. Grab the bar, tip chin up, pull the imaginary bar, but feel like your chest is lifting up. And this kind of puts you into a back bend. Okay, heart is lifting, that string attached to the sternum, lifting up. We are in what I call a lunging back bend. All right, release the bar. We're going to fold carefully, bringing the weight forward, hands down. Press into the ground, slide right foot back, hips into the air, so you're in downward facing dog. We're going to do the other side. Inhale, extend left leg up and back. Exhale, bend left knee, bring it in towards chest, shift your body weight forward. Maybe left foot lands higher, up near the hand, or do what we did earlier. Pivot right heel to the floor to get some grounding. Step the hands back so we can get weight in that right foot, torso over the thigh. Rise to fingertips to help with that. Then float your way up, just the torso. Arms can stay down by your side like this. Okay, just so we can feel this good grounding, balancing. But the lean forward, put a little bit more weight in this front foot. I'm bending the knee to help with that. So I can pivot to pick up that right heel. So all 10 toes are pointing forward. Inhale, take both arms up into the air, perpendicular to the ground. Then bend elbows to 90 degrees. We're ready for our pull-up. Grab your imaginary pull-up bar. Imagine you're pulling down, but you're really lifting up the chest. Just tip your chin up a little bit. Inhale as you do so. Exhale to hold. Maybe one more breath. So we're in our lunging back bend. You're going to release the bar. Carefully fold, hinging forward, bringing hands down to the floor in front. Plant the hands strongly so you can slide the left foot back, hips up into the air, downward facing dog. Hold. Very nice. Good. Now gently bring both knees to the floor. Sit back into hero. You're going to slide off the heels onto the ground so you can swing the legs around to the front. Scoot so you're sitting in the center of your mat. You want to have some blocks nearby or books, whatever you have that can stack. Okay, we're going to move into our final back bend bridge pose. We typically do this pose. I like to teach this posture towards the end of class. So when you're ready, go ahead and lie down. You're going to lie down flat on your back, but the knees bent and feet on the ground, like so. And just hold here for a moment. This is also a nice opportunity for your back to kind of lengthen after being in some forward folds and of course some back bends, but also preparing for our next back bend. Make sure your blocks are nearby. You've got them in hand. When you're ready, take a nice full breath in, fill up your lungs. Exhale, engage your belly. Press feet into the ground to lift your hips. Use your blocks now. Slide the blocks underneath you so you can sit on those stacked blocks. Literally just sit on them. Make any adjustments with your feet. You might even adjust your upper body. If you can, try to get your shoulders slightly underneath you. Now with your arms, because your arms and shoulders are kind of underneath you, here's some options on what you can do with your arms. Because you can bend the elbows and just kind of gently press the backs of your arms into the ground, not too strongly. Something like this. I'm just kind of pressing into the ground, but you can also just relax the arms and just kind of melt into this posture. You don't have to do a whole lot here. This can be a nice relaxing back bend or heart opener, or you can even make it more active. Again, by pressing feet a little bit more solidly into the ground, bending elbows and pressing into the ground, deeper breaths to expand through the chest. So you can kind of play with both sensations, activating the body in your back bend and maybe then relaxing in the back bend. Both conditions here, heart is opened, so maybe even going back to your intention that you may have set at the beginning of class, what are you opening your heart to? What would you like to receive? What is it that you like to share? You're welcome just to stay in this posture. I'm going to add another pose while we're here, and you can join me if you'd like. It's just an extension of the legs into the air. So if you are sitting on stacked blocks or books, you might be able to do this. Join me if you'd like. I'm just extending both legs up into the sky, just to add a different perspective and energy and sensation to the body. Energize legs straight up, holding that for a few moments. But then I like to add a little mobility. Okay, we had some lunges in there, and some standing postures. So maybe circle the ankles, just as we did at the beginning of practice. We were standing and I had you circle your shoulders. Let's just do the same action for our feet, just taking care of our feet. Flex the feet, point your toes, make those circles. If you can wiggle your toes, wiggle your toes. Even add your knees, just get your joints involved here. I like to do some bicycle pedaling here. So you can pedal the bicycle, getting into your hips and knees a little bit and ankles. Again, this is all optional. Your feet can still be on the ground. Maybe you're still relaxing in your bridge pose. Or maybe you're experimenting with these leg extensions. You can even do one leg at a time. One foot stays planted into the ground while one leg is in the air. Something like that. Maybe just 3 more breaths, whatever you might be doing. I'm just doing some high kicks. And then when you're complete, feet come back down to the ground, relax. Whatever you might be doing, just relax. If you're sitting on those stacked blocks or books, press feet into the ground to lift your hips so you can remove the blocks out from underneath you. Come down slowly to land lightly onto the ground. Let's hug both knees into chest. Even add some motion here, some circles. I like to circle the legs, which gets into the low back and hips, since that's what's kind of targeted when we're doing some back bends. It kind of activates the low back area, so just a little massage can feel quite nice. And the feet are still free, so you can actually add some more motion to the feet if you want. Let's add a hip opener. So just taking the legs wide. I'm just taking my hands and just pressing the legs away from each other, getting a little stretch in the inner thighs. Just holding here for a few seconds. This is kind of a variation of happy baby pose. Just taking the legs wide. What you could do for a full happy baby posture is take the feet up towards the ceiling, maybe grab hold of the bottoms of the feet like this, and press down gently so the knees feel like they're coming down towards the ground on either side of you. So that's kind of the complete version of the pose, but that variation is also nice. You can just hold on to the knees and just keep the legs opened. We'll finish with one more posture. After your hip opener, bring the legs together, hug knees in towards chest, gently, and then we'll take a twist. Take the knees over to left side as you extend right arm to right side. So these final postures are a way to help relieve the low back in some respect, especially after some of those back bend positions. Deep breaths here. Breathing, of course, complements all of our poses. Let's take 3 more breaths on this side. Whenever you're ready to move, there's certainly no rush to do so. Just come back up to center. You might hold center for a few seconds so your body can realign. And then take the knees over to the other side. Spinal twist. Deep breathing. And 3 breaths here. You certainly can stay in these twists longer if it feels good for you. After your 3rd breath, return to center. Let's hold center. You might even hug knees into chest. Here's where you can decide where you want to go next. We're going to be moving into Shavasana, or some relaxing posture, for the remainder of our practice. Okay, so that could be Shavasana, which is just your legs extended out onto the ground, arms down by your side, or something a little bit more restorative and comfortable. I'm just going to rise up so I can grab the bolster. I was going to show you this as a way to find some other ways to find comfort and ease in the body at the end of your class. So I'm just going to place the bolster underneath my knees, keeping the knees bent. I'm even going to use this blanket here just for some cushioning for my head, and then carefully roll back down. And this is quite comfortable for me. So if you want to use a blanket or pillows, just something that's going to help bring your body to that complete relaxation, please feel free. And when you feel settled, you might take a couple of cleansing breaths like we did at the beginning of practice.
Reconnecting to breath, coming back to this moment, being fully present and aware, and then just settle into gentle, easy breathing. Hold here as long as you'd like. Even as I end the practice and come up to seated, you're welcome just to stay just like this. Very relaxed, at ease in both your mind and your body. This is also a nice moment to return to your personal intention, having moved through some heart-opening back bends, opening your heart to what you're needing, what you'd like to receive, what you'd like to give or share. Make those known to your heart. Again, stay here as long as you'd like. No rush to move at all. And when it is time to move, whenever that is for you, start the movement with breath. Just some slow, deep breaths, maybe 5. Returning to that expansiveness in the breathing. Feeling the breath move through your entire body, creating movement within the body. Then after your 5th breath, moving in slow motion. Maybe you've got some props that you need to kind of slide out of the way. Rolling onto either side of your body. And carefully rising. Come to a seated position. You might sit on your blanket or a block or a pillow. Sitting up tall and proud. Arms can just relax down by your side. Hands could just be in your lap. You might take some deep cleansing breaths right here. Very good. Let's do one more movement together. Inhale, extend your arms out and up into the air. Reach high. As you exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. Let's hold here in stillness for a few more breaths. Mindful of your breathing. Mindful of your open heart. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow, saying, Namaste.